we look at the commentary that a Charlemagne is even offering, it's embarrassing. It's actually rather anti-intellectual. It's stupid, you know? We are here today to talk about Charlemagne the God. And I wanted to discuss how Charlemagne was able to become seen as, at minimum, a political commentator, and more so as an intellectual within the Black digital landscape. I want to know who informed him of this, who platformed him as this, who put the battery in that Negro's back, and why. Because when we look at what information is available to us, we look at the commentary that a Charlemagne is even offering, it's embarrassing. It's actually rather anti-intellectual, and it's stupid, you know? I'm at loss for kind words here of how to describe this person. But in case, I'm realizing I can't assume that everybody knows who I'm talking about. Are we all engaging in the same kind of media? So for accessibility's sake, I put a thumbnail, but this is Charlemagne. He is originally from South Carolina. Larry McKelvey, he's a Cancer, was born in 1978. His father was a Jehovah's Witness turned Muslim. That's a great big leap of religious performance. And his mother was a Jehovah's Witness. Wow, he grew up in a Jehovah's Witness Muslim household in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. It's a small town. That's a fascinating background. But I could understand as a child of the 80s, like even if his mother was the witness, your dad ruled the nest. And especially within the Jehovah's Witness structure, as somebody who grew up in a two-parent, both my parents are witnesses, household, even the way the Kingdom Hall, their theology promotes is this idea that the father leads the household through and through, that you are to grow up in a patriarchal setting. And so if his dad was of a different faith, fascinating stuff. It's always amusing to me how many, particularly Negroes in Hollywood, have grown up witnesses, like Quinta Brunson and Desus from Desus and Mero. Prince converted. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. So before I get too deep into this, I would like to give a few announcements. If you don't notice, I have sweatshirts for the book club. We now have sweatshirts for all the t-shirts that we sell. So the Toni Morrison, Audre Lorde, and Ida B. Wells, babes. We now have sweatshirts for all of them. And I'm wearing an extra large. Mine just came in the mail today. Extra comfy. But let's get back to Charlemagne. So for those who have been really into Black media for the past 2 decades, those who used to drive in their parents' cars and hear the Tom Joyner morning show, like before the era of Ricky Smiley, we had the Tom Joyner morning show. So those of us that grew up in the era where radio was truly a powerful thing, Charlemagne first came about as a radio personality. And I think most notably, he was known as a personality on the Wendy Williams show during the era where her husband Kevin was managing the show, and they had a big fallout. They did not end their relationship on good terms. And then he ended up on The Breakfast Club, which is a New York radio station for, do I need to tell y'all the radio station? Do we care? Anywho, it became a franchise radio show on Power 105.1, which is a New York City-based radio station. But I think one thing that brought The Breakfast Club to big prominence was them being early arrivers to putting all of their morning shows on YouTube. So to having a video version of their morning radio show, as we saw a transference of people listening to radio, to streaming services, and the advent of social media becoming a really big part of our day-to-day lives. And so with them also being strategic about their social media presence, we see a rise of Charlemagne as a personality. The Breakfast Club consisted of a rather weak link of co-hosts. Of all the shows, there's nothing about the cast of people on this show that makes me think, oh wow, what talented and deeply skilled people. I could probably do a video on each member. We're talking about Charlemagne, but Angela Yee and DJ Envy, just untalented. If you've ever had the opportunity to work in the entertainment industry and music, radio is a very fascinating place. And who gets to maintain radio presence is a very fascinating politic, because Angela Yee, as a representative of Black women, oh, wow. DJ Envy, what is he, Dominican? And, I think the casting of The Breakfast Club really provided fertile ground for Charlemagne, amongst a bunch of dimwits, to position himself as like the bright one. Like, if I just say things that sound, good every once in a while, like a broken clock is still right twice a day, that I can platform myself and brand myself as one who is a bit more thoughtful and nuanced, especially when I'm sitting amongst a cast of people that what exists up here? Not a whole lot. Now, particular to Charlemagne's rise to fame is that the Breakfast Club took advantage of having a great social media presence during the 2016 presidential election cycle. And the Democrats ended up investing in urban radio to try to get more voters to turn out for the election, particularly with Hillary Clinton sitting down with the Breakfast Club in 2015, I believe it was. This is where we get the I have hot sauce in my purse commentary from Hillary Clinton. We get Charlemagne giving Trump the donkey of the day in the 2015, which is a really easy play. But then we get the hot sauce in my bag comment that pretty much makes this interview with Hillary Clinton go viral.
No more questions? They said no, she has to go.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now listen, I
yes.
just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to Black people again.
Okay. Is it working?
Yeah.
But that moment really kind of began to solidify Charlemagne as political commentator, that he was able to have an authentic moment. So for Hillary, that moment goes as, oh, you're pandering to Black people. But for Charlemagne, that hot sauce in my bag moment goes as though he's able to have authentic moments with politicians. What wise and sage words this young man can offer. I just think that when we put together what Charlemagne actually does, it's like, yeah, sure, get your bag, interview the politicians. You have this huge platform. It's a franchise radio show, and it does really well across social media because of how the radio station has deeply invested in video product. So I think they got ahead of the curve. They did a really good job getting ahead of the curve, because long format video does really well on YouTube. YouTube became the largest social media platform. And then we have the entryway of Instagram that kind of, disrupts the industry for a little while. But Twitter introduces video. They introduced video that can go longer than, what was it, originally 60 seconds. And so you see clips of the Breakfast Club going viral on that platform. And then TikTok enters and forces everyone to push their platforms to short form video content. And there's already a bevy of video from the Breakfast Club show to be reformatted for video content across social media. So the show was kind of primed from a very simple step, seemingly to us in 2022. It was primed for in a very simple way to become a very popular show, particularly in the Black digital landscape, where because it has 2 male hosts and a very rather soft-spoken woman host who don't really say a whole lot, to be honest, it also cultivates an audience that people often claim is overlooked, Black men. And particularly in presidential cycles, that becomes a big focus. And so I think the Breakfast Club is seen as killing 2 birds with 1 stone if you can safely get your politician to sit down and interview with them. And they're not really going to ask threatening questions. They're not really going to challenge any politic because they don't have the gravitas and they have not invested in the knowledge to be those sort of hard-hitting, question-asking interviewers. And it was really easy for Charlemagne amongst the 3 of them to become that nigga who is seen as the thinker of the bunch. Come on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Jouelzy. It's where I do all my live streaming.